Hi everyone! Today I'll take you to explore the most proud historical treasures of Linzi Zibo, the Jixia Academy. The famous German philosopher Karl Jasper put forward a concept, the axial age. More than over 2,000 years ago, the most brilliant ideological wave of human civilization occurred simultaneously in the East and the West. The Academy of Plato was founded in the West, while the ideological pinnacle of Eastern civilization was located here, at Jixia Academy, Linzi, the capital of Qi. Many people just think that it's simply a school, but it was so much more than that. It's not just a place for learning, but it is a national think tank where the greatest minds of all time during the Warring States period all gather and debated here. And the famous thing of the 100 schools of thought also flourished right here. At its peak, this place carried learning, debates, and flourishing thoughts for over 150 years. Today, we trace its journey from its founding, its flourishing, and to its ultimate decline. The Jixia Academy was not established by the Duke Huan of Qi during the spring and autumn period, as most people think. Rather, it is established by Duke Tian Huan of Qi. When the Tian clan has just took over the state of Qi, they wanted to stabilize national strength and recruit talent. So they built this huge academy right next to the gate Ji, which is the Jixia Academy that we know nowadays. The Jixia Academy developed and flourished to its peak under the reign of King Xuan of Qi. At that time, almost all intellectual scholars rushed into Linzi. So what was life like for a scholar in Jixia Academy? The answer is incredibly good. As archaeological discoveries has revealed, the Jixia Academy covered over 40,000 square meters, approximately the size of 100 basketball courts. Just imagine how grandeur and how flourishing this place once was. With such extraordinary support, scholars are extremely willing to come here, think, discuss, and debate with the greatest minds of their time. The Jixia Academy declined during the reign of King Nin of Qi. Being stubborn and conceited, the king refused to listen to advices from wise people. And this disappointed a lot of scholars here at Jixia Academy, which turned them away eventually. And afterwards, the state of Yan invaded Qi, and Linzi was unfortunately captured. This forced the place Jixia Xuegong to close down and fall into disrepair. Later on, as Qi restored its statehood, it revived the Jixia Academy. However, after the war, its country's prosperity declined gradually, and this place could not go back to its prosperity before. So later on, as the state of Qin conquered all 6 states and unified the country, Jixia Academy disappeared completely after its glory of 150 years. The core reason for its great prosperity lies in its extraordinary advanced institutional principle, known as discussing politics without holding official posts. To put it simply, they were given generous salaries, a place to live, and also noble title. However, they were never assigned to official duties. So because of this, the only thing that they have to do every day at Jixia Academy is to debate and share their thoughts freely and openly. And so they were even given the privilege to discuss about the merits and demerits of the monarchs and to speak about public affairs openly. It was precisely this inclusiveness and openness that led to the clash of a lot of ideologies and a lot of talents in Jixia Xuegong. So today, under this lively academic atmosphere that we have here, I'm going to introduce to you some of the most famous talents during the era. First of all, the most familiar Confucian school had Mencius and Xunzi, both of whom lectured at the Jixia Academy for a long period of time.
Mencius advocated for benevolent governance and hoped that monarchs would treat the people kindly. There's an interesting story about him. Someone deliberately challenged him, saying that rights forbid intimate contact between men and women. If your sister-in-law falls into the water, will you save her or not?
Mencius replied immediately. He says that rules are fixed, but people are flexible. We abide to rituals in normal times, but under situations such as emergencies, we save people. And so he also claimed that refusing to save a drowning person is utterly heartless. So in the end, we can tell that he is not just a dogmatic thinker, rather he possesses wisdom and the clarity of thought. Later on, Mencius left firmly because he discovered that the king was just hoping for war hegemony, and he did not treat the people nicely and govern with benevolence. Despite the king's retention and his generous givings, Mencius still refused, showing extraordinary integrity. Xunzi, another great Confucian scholar, spent almost his entire life at Jixia Academy and served as its dean 3 times. Different from Mencius, he believed that human nature contains selfish desires, which needs to be restrained by rules and education. His greatest merit was his open-mindedness to absorb the strengths of all schools. His students later directly influenced China's governance model for thousands of years. The most numerous and mainstream scholars are the scholars from Huanglao School of Taoism. They advocate to conform to the natural laws, treating people kindly, and ruling with benevolence. Chun Yikun was one of the most witty and eloquent scholars here. He never really contradicted any monarchs. Instead, he's told interesting stories and used metaphors and analogies to persuade monarchs and convince them. Once the state of Chu was about to invade the state of Qi, and the king of Qi planned on seeking help from the state of Zhao by only giving trivial gifts. And after Chun Yikun heard this, he smiled and said that on his way here, he saw a man praying on the road. While only giving little sacrifice, he asked for a fruitful year-round of harvest. The moral of the story is to not expect too much when giving too little. The king immediately understood his implied meaning and increased the gifts generously. Moved by the sincerity, Zhao sent 100,000 troops to support Qi, forcing Chu's army to retreat. A few words and a simple story saved the entire state. How remarkable it is. Another famous scholar from Taoism is Tian Pan. He is known for his eloquence and debate skills, as well as his thinking. But people mocked him sometimes and says that he only stays inside the Jixia Academy and lectures while not putting his thoughts into action. He replied that I do not have to join and become an official. Rather, I believe that I'm doing something meaningful. That is, I'm purifying the official conduct, educating people, and that is more important and more meaningful than me becoming an official. Apart from Confucianism and Taoism, there is also the imaginative yin-yang school. One of the most famous scholars there is called Zhou Yan. In a time where people thought the central plane was the entire world, he envisioned more than that. He brought forward the idea of the 9 major continents. It's brilliant to step outside of the box and step outside of limited cognition and envision a world much larger than the portion we see back then, like over 2,000 years ago. There is also the School of Names, which specialize in debate and logic. To put it simply, they were just the best debaters at the time in Jixia Academy. There was a highly skilled debater who could not possibly get defeated. And one day, Lu Zhonglian approached him. He was a 12-year-old, and he said to the veteran debater, "What is the point of engaging in those meaningless debates where people outside are suffering, starving, and they're even dying?" His words touched the veteran debater, and the debater promised not to engage in any of those empty and pointless debates again. Few people know that Jixia Academy was also one of the birthplaces of legalist thought. Shen Dao, an early legalist scholar, put forward crucial theories here. He believed that national governance should not rely on the monarch's personal virtue, but on systematic rules and institutions. The legal governance of the Qin dynasty was largely derived from his theories formed at Jixia Academy. It is in this open environment that numerous scholars and numerous schools debated, shared ideas with each other, and eventually integrated into a complete ideological system. The book Guanzi we read now is also compiled from scholars here at Jixia Academy. It contains wisdom regarding governance, economy, and people's livelihood. And here at Jixia Segong, there is also the first code of conduct for students. Jixia Academy was eventually destroyed by war. The wisdom that we have inherited from it have benefited China for over 2,000 years. The most suitable ancient Chinese governance model that include benevolence and standardized rule of law is finalized here at Jixia Academy. Therefore, when we look back at Jixia Academy today, its greatest inspiration is clear. The more inclusive a society is, and the more diverse voices it embraces, the more prosperous its ideology and the more vibrant country will be. 2,000 years ago, numerous scholars gathered under the gate of Ji. Their ideas collided, blended, and flourished. Despite the Jixia Academy has vanished long ago, the spirit of inclusivity and the pursuit of knowledge lasted forever. Thank you for watching my video, and don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next video.